Today we're going to be making one of my favorite dishes whenever I go for yumcha, and it's called Cheong Fun. Now these are beautiful silky sort of rice sheets that are filled with lots of yummy things. I'm going to actually use mushrooms today. These are some of the most beautiful mushrooms you'll get in Australia, and I'm going to pimp it up with a little bit of prawns. To make the filling, we're going to start by slicing the onions. Then grab your garlic. Now if you're a fan like me of garlic, 3 or 4 cloves. Otherwise just stick with 1. Now with the ginger, you really only need to use a spoon to scrape it off, and then finally slice it, and then chop it. I've got here some mini king oyster mushrooms. They're beautiful, really delicious. So just halve them and slice them. Now these are brown shiimeji mushrooms, and they come in a pack like this. All you need to do is chop off the ends, and then use your fingers to break them up, and they break up pretty easily. Now the last one I'm adding is the enoki. Now enoki mushrooms are really tender and they cook very quickly. So literally right at the end, chuck them in for a split minute. Ooh, we need some spring onions. Come with me to my garden upstairs. We're gonna grab some. All right, let's get some spring onions. Here we go, fresh from my garden. Now what we're gonna do here is just finely chop it. And then after that, place it in a bowl. I'm gonna grab a little bit of coriander. Just add an extra element of freshness. All you need to do is finally chop it and place it on the plate. Last up here, I've got some chopped up prawns. Now let's head over to the stove. So heat on, let's get some oil in a pan. Now stir fries happen really quickly, so make sure you've got everything near you. We want to start first with the onions. Now you want to cook it until it's sort of lightly colored. And we know that when you cook onions, the sweetness comes out of it. Next up, add your garlic and ginger. Now these always go in a little bit later because they tend to burn very quickly, especially the garlic. Mini king oysters and the shiimeji goes in. You want to keep this moving in your pan a little bit because you don't want it to sit there and start to stew. And I'm going to make a well in the middle, touch more oil, and the prawn goes in. Once you see your mushrooms start to break down a little bit, we deglaze with Shaoxing wine. A little bit of soy, and some oyster sauce, but if you want like a vegetarian, vegan mushroom sauce, that'll work really well too. Then some sesame oil to impart some beautiful flavors. Finally, some freshly cracked black pepper. The enoki mushroom goes in. Now add your greens and keep a little bit of the spring onions for later and just mix it through. So I'm just gonna add in a little bit of tapioca starch. You can use corn flour as well, just to make a slurry with a little bit of water. And I'm just gonna add a touch of the slurry. It's not to make it gluggy, but just to keep it together. Flame goes off, filling's done. I'm gonna pop it onto a plate and let's get started on the noodles. Start by oiling your pans, and then we're gonna preheat them in the steamer. Now for the noodles, I've made a batter here. It's a very light batter. It's a very watery batter, but it's made of wheat starch, rice flour, and tapioca starch. A little bit of oil and water. I'm just gonna pour this in. Just make sure that the layers are relatively thin. Give it a bit of a wiggle, and then pop it on and steam for 6 minutes. Now, to know that it's cooked through, touch it with your fingers, and it shouldn't be sticky. All right, so grab a really flexible spatula, and I'm gonna run it right around the edges, just to release it. And because we've oiled the pan and there's a little bit of oil in the batter, this is gonna come off really easily. What? Look at this. I mean, how beautiful is this? And because we've got that wheat starch, there's a little bit of elasticity here as well. All right, let's fill this baby. We're gonna grab some of this beautiful mushroom filling. It's gonna go into the middle. Oh, if you could only smell this, it is so good. Then pull up one end, and you're gonna roll it over, tucking it under the filling. And then center it, place it in the middle. I've got here some really lightly blanched bean sprouts. I've tailed them as much as I could. Mom would kill me if I didn't. They're gonna go over the top. Just put it in the middle. Now for that sprinkling of spring onions that we kept from earlier, a little bit over the top. Now here's a dressing I made earlier, and this is really a combination of soy, Shaoxing wine, a little bit of sugar, sesame oil, and a touch of water. Now you can't have Cheong Fun without chili. I've got here some chili oil. It's gonna add a touch of color and a little bit of spice. This is the most epic looking Cheong Fun I've ever had. And to finish it off, if you've got crispy shallots, crispy garlic, any of that works really well. I've got these beautiful crispy garlic flakes, and they're just gonna look brilliant. Here you go. This is my Cheong Fun with mushrooms and prawn.